What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 79 of Learn and Become podcast. My name is Andre, and today we'll be talking about constancy. Constancy, by definition in the dictionary, is the quality of being faithful and dependable. It's about fidelity, faithfulness, loyalty, commitment, dedication into something. It is also defined as the quality of being enduring and unchanging, which means something that doesn't change, something that remains the same throughout different phases of the process. When we think about something that is has constancy, we oftentimes think also about consistency, about discipline, about something that doesn't change. But oftentimes we get a very important thing wrong in this process. When we think about things that don't change, we can easily think about, or we can imagine, we can think that things that don't change don't require work because it doesn't change. Therefore, it doesn't require a lot of effort, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to start off with a very basic example, using a tree as an example, tree of nature in general. When we think about a seed has constancy in the process. It goes into the process to become a tree. And let's say it went through the entire process. It had a lot of constancy in the process, which means it was a seed, it was like it sprouted somehow, it became a little tree, and anyway, it grew and it became a tree. So there was constancy in the process. It went from a seed to a tree, following all of the process. And when it became a tree, for a tree to continue existing, or a tree to be a tree, it needs to have a few things. For example, you block a tree from getting sunlight, or even if it's not a natural sunlight, some sort of light that will replace sunlight, it will eventually die because it needs sunlight. Or if a tree has no access to water, it will die as well. A tree needs to have some minimum requirements to continue existing, being consistent, to have constancy in being a tree. For a tree to not change, it needs a lot of things. It's not just like, I'll leave a tree out there and then it's going to be a tree like this forever. No, in life, as well as in nature, as well as in anything, there is no permanent state. It's either getting better or getting worse. It's impossible for a thing to be still. A tree, for example, as we were saying, needs to go through all the processes, all of the seasons, and it is required. A tree needs to go through all of the seasons to have a good harvest, for example. A great example, I don't know what happened this year to our mango tree. We've got a mango tree at our house. We've got two mango trees here. One of them tends to be, or usually is, extremely fruitful. The other one, not as much. But the one that is extremely fruitful got 0 fruits this year. Why? I don't know. And I'm not an expert in trees and in fruits and this kind of things, but something happened in the process that it wasn't consistent with what we expected from it from the previous years. I don't know. It has no fruits. Another good example of something that is consistent, that has consistency in it, that's got constancy, is a house, for example. So if you think a house to be the way it is, think about your house. Let's suppose you do nothing in the house for a week, a month, for example. It's not going to be the way it is. You have dust all over. If you've got plants, they'll die. If you're still living in the house, your trash cans will be overflowing. You cook food and you don't wash the dishes. At some point, you won't have dishes to use anymore, and it's gonna stink the house like extremely bad. So for a house to be a house, to continue being the way it should be, it takes a lot of work. So you need to work really hard for a house to be the way it is. It's not like something that house won't keep itself, per se. The same happens, for example, with our bodies and also with our minds. If we're not working on it, we're either progressing, evolving, growing, or we're falling, or we're going down, we're getting worse. Because as we've said before, there's no middle ground. There's no in the middle. You're either developing or not. But it's impossible for you to be the way you are right now if you're not working on something. You're either developing, growing, or not. I saw a picture of myself 2 years ago, and I'm pretty much the same way in regards to my shape. My hair is a little bit longer, but I haven't gained weight, haven't lost weight. I'm pretty much in the same shape. And it got me thinking the amount of work I put in the last 2 years to be exactly the same way I am, or the same way I was a couple of years ago. I work out. So in the last 2 years, I've probably worked out 90% of the days. I rarely miss a workout session. Like I probably do 6 to 7 times a week, every week. I run. I do some calisthenics training at home, body weight training at home. I'm not like a big eater. I don't eat that much. I like food. I eat everything. I eat from sweet things to healthy things. I eat pizza, burgers, but I also eat lots of fruits, vegetables, and everything. Which means I'm not following a specific diet to meet any goals or anything, but I don't eat a whole lot. Like to say, I eat a lot and I haven't gained weight. If I was eating a lot and not exercising, could easily in 2 years be, I don't know, like 20, 30 pounds heavier than I was in the last 2 years. But it took a lot of work for me to be the same way I was 2 years ago. Which means, as I was saying, there's no middle ground. There's no like, I'll be consistent without work. It's impossible. For you to be consistent, for you to continue the way you are, for you to continue And I'm not even saying for you to get better, for you to be the way you are, you need to get better. Because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So for you to be the very same way, you need to at least get a little bit better. Because that means you'll be just the same way. You just not be falling. You'll not be going downward. But you just be the way you are. But it also it takes a lot of work. So the same goes to the learning process. For example, the language learning process. If you're not using your second, third, or even your first language, if you're not using it, you're not getting better. You're getting worse. A great example of this is when I lived in North Carolina. In one of the semesters, I think it was that was in my first semester, I've got a gift card from the university as a recognition of dedication and effort. That was a $50 gift card from a supermarket that I forgot the name, but it was like a very good supermarket with fresh stuff, just like high quality food. And in that very same week, my cousin, which happens to be my English teacher and a great friend, went to visit me in North Carolina just to make sure the place where I was nice, just to visit and see how things were. She was going back to the United States, and she decided to stop by and see how things were before she went home. And I didn't have a lot of money, but I've got that gift card, and we're going to cook some stuff together. And we went to this supermarket with the gift card to buy some stuff. We were walking on an aisle of the supermarket, and just in case you don't know, the hallways at the supermarket, they're called aisle. And that's where we walk to get the products from. So we were walking with a shopping cart in one of those aisles, just getting some products. And we were speaking Portuguese. And as we were talking in Portuguese, there was a lady. She didn't look Brazilian that much. And she was just standing in the aisle, just getting some products. And then she asked us a question in Portuguese with very thick accent in Portuguese. And I know that there was an accent, or I'm Brazilian, so I can recognize an accent in Portuguese kind of easily. And not that there is a problem with accent. You guys will get the point where I'm getting with the story. So she asked us a question in Portuguese, asking if we were speaking Portuguese. We were like, yes, that's Portuguese. And for our surprise, she said, with a very American accent in Portuguese, I'm Brazilian. We were like, what? She said, yes, I moved here many, many years ago, and my husband is American. All my kids are American. I've been living here since then, and I don't get to speak Portuguese that much. And when I heard you guys speaking Portuguese, it was great. So we spoke to her a little bit. We had a conversation for a couple minutes, and she lost some of her ability to speak Portuguese, which is her mother tongue, because she doesn't use it very much. Crazy, right? But possible. If you're not evolving, if you're not using it, if you're not growing, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Simple as it is. So if you want to get better in English, or if you want to maintain your English level, you need to work on it. It's not something that will happen automatically. And just like the tree example from the beginning, you don't need to do miraculously things to continue your process. You can expose yourself to English. You can try to speak to people. You can Google the words you see on your way. You just need to use it. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm going to sit down every day for 30 minutes to study grammar, or I'm going to, I don't know, like take a course for 8 years and be a master of the language. No, it's just got to use it. So if you commit yourself to listen to stuff in English every day, or the most as you can, to read stuff in English as often as possible, to talk to people in English whenever you get a chance to, that's how you get constancy in English. It's not by doing something like crazy. But if you do the basics, if you do just like the normal stuff, just like use the language, you will get better. Trust me. But one thing is for sure, for you to get constancy, you need to work on it. It's not going to happen if you don't put in the work. But also putting in the work can be a lot simpler than you imagine. It doesn't have to be something crazy. Yeah, that's something, right? Sometimes when we go like, oh, you need to put in the work, you need to do all the crazy stuff, you need to do all that it takes. Sometimes what it takes is a lot simpler than what we have in our minds. But the thing is, we need to do that. We do the simple stuff well, we'll get results. Dot. Period. That's it. Simple things well done equals result. Working on the basics, on the basic stuff will get us results that we wouldn't otherwise. So to wrap it up, what I'm trying to say is that it takes hard work, or sometimes just work, to develop or to be where you are, to keep yourself the way you are takes effort. Time is going by like 24 hours, 7 days a week. Time is moving forward. You want to be in the same shape you are, the same health conditions you are, in the same like with the same abilities you have today. You need to work on them. And maybe the best way for you to do it is to find ways that will be enjoyable, that will be interesting, that will be nice, so that you can work on it every day and not only develop and grow as you go, but also have fun, enjoy the process, and that's it. So be consistent, continue, move forward. Remember, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. And I hope you get to move forward always. Because if you do that, it means you continually get more out of life. You will inspire people. You will go farther. You have a better life, longer life, nicer life, or fruitful life, and happier life, I'm sure. That's it. Hope you guys have a good one. If you've got any suggestions English-wise, if you have any questions about this episode, please leave your suggestions, comments, ideas down in the comment section. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Y'all take care, and always remember, it takes hard work to stay the way you are. do your work, do what you gotta do, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.